Righto, Nutrien Standardbred Winter Woolies sale commences Friday the 4th of June. That's this Friday. Stephan Medcraft joins me. Firstly, Stephen, welcome to Campbell's Comments, mate.
Thanks. It's good to be on here. Thanks for the opportunity.
I really appreciate it. I'll just throw this banner up so people are aware that it commences on Friday the 4th of June at 10 o'clock and commences on Monday the 7th at 3 o'clock. Now, that's a bit of a loaded thing, Stephen, because if there are still people, the countdown clock starts at 3 o'clock. So if people are still bidding on a horse, it might still be going for another hour, which, if it's your horse they're bidding on, might be good for you. But if it's not your horse, it could be frustrating waiting to see what the final figure is. But it's going to be a little bit of entertainment, that's for sure.
It will be good to actually watch the countdown clock and see how many times people jump in with the bid and wait to the last minute, and all of a sudden someone comes in.
I'm going to be streaming that live. I was speaking to Angus Street today. Angus is going to be on with me Friday morning, Friday lunchtime, just to explain to everyone how it all does work, and going forward what people need to do, and the like. So it's going to be a little bit different. But I was speaking to him today, and he was rapt that I was going to go live. And hopefully, we get a bit of entertainment out of it. That I definitely no auctioneer, but we might be able to get a few horses going backwards and forwards on the bidding, or a few people bidding against each other, and just a different way of doing it. Which these online sales are very different, aren't they?
Well, we'd certainly need a lot of people to register as purchasers and go online and at least buy something. There are going to be a lot of bargains as well as the good price mares and weanlings. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now I know you bought at the Nutrien sale earlier this year, but
Yes.
have you been involved in an online sale before?
And not been involved in selling online. We've looked at purchasing online before. Yes.
Yeah. Now you've got a unique history and unique background, and I spoke to you last night in a little bit of a precursor to this, and you spoke about a horse called Sharpsbury's Sharps. I
No,
can't.
Shiver's Revenge.
Oh, Shiver's Revenge. Sorry, well, that's okay. It's still one of those nice horses, and you owned a share in that horse, among others.
Yeah, that was the first thoroughbred I purchased. And got a good percentage of it. Um, and he won $964,000 before he broke a leg in Sydney, and he was favoured for the Sydney Cup. Unfortunately, he ran into Let's Elope, and Let's Elope beat him in the Melbourne Cup. He ran second there. He ran second to her in the Australian Cup, um, second in another race. So he was he could have won a lot more money if he had have won some of these races, because back then in 91, the first prize money for the Melbourne Cup was 1.4 million and second prize was 400,000. So people say, aren't you lucky to run second in the Melbourne Cup? Well, it cost us $1 million. And we actually protested um, about, Shane Dye protested about Stephen King for cutting us off, and it was only the margin that probably stopped us from winning the race.
Yeah,
Uh,
and that's unique. If people aren't aware, Bart Cummings trained both horses on that occasion, and yeah, it's one of the more unique protests going in. Were you there on track for it?
he couldn't lose, and it's one of those things where your whole blood in your body stops running, and everything stands still for a minute. Yeah. And I knew he was going to protest when he was coming back down the race. He was pretty adamant about what had happened, being cut off. Yeah, and Stephen King got time as well. So yeah, but you got to move on. It's all the little things that when you go to the races and you see a photo of Let's Elope, or someone's got a tea towel with the names of the winners on, and that sort of thing, that really um, gets a little bit.
It does indeed.
We've had lots of luck with thoroughbreds over the years. I've had I must have 50 thoroughbred photos on the wall, and we've won Group Ones, Vic Health Cups, South Australian Derbies, St Ledgers. So I've had a really good run with thoroughbreds, but decided to get out of that, and it was too expensive to buy horses and compete against the people with lots of money from overseas. So I thought I'd get involved in the harness racing industry about 11 years ago, and went and bought two horses. And Shivers Revenge was our first thoroughbred, and it won. And the first two harness horses we purchased both won races, and one of the horses in one of the mares in the sale is called Flower on the Wall, and she was the first mare that we bought. She won 6 races for us, from a really good family, and from then on, Trent and myself and the kids and grandkids have all had a lot of fun, and we're more involved in it than just being an investor in a thoroughbred and paying a trainer's bill. You can actually go out and sit in the sulky and do some slow laps for the horse, and you know that what you're doing to develop that horse over time. And if it wins on a Saturday night, you know that you did a little bit of jogging up of it on the Thursday afternoon, and what you did and what your son told you to do worked on that night when you won. So the kids can pat the horses, they can sit in the sulky and go around in circles. You go to the stabling yards at harness racing, and your kids can sit there and sit down, watch the horse get harnessed up and go out onto the track. It's certainly a family sport, and I definitely won't, even if I'm selling horses and mares at the moment, I've still got other horses that we'll be keeping, and we're going to stay in the industry for a long, long time. Yeah,
Mate, HRV need to put you on as an ambassador. I just gave you a little bit, and away you went, and you sold the industry well in it. But that's exactly what the sport's about. That's why I love it so much, because it's not elitist. It's not elitist. It's just a bit of fun, isn't it?
It is, and your horses could be winning anywhere. I've had thoroughbreds where I've been over to Bunbury, I've been to the Avoca races, and it's the same with harness. You go to Bendigo, we've been to Bathurst, we've been all over the place to watch races as a family. It gets you travelling and being involved in the industry.
We should say too that you are the next door neighbour to Andy Gath, and Andy and Kate look after the vast majority of your horses. Is that fair in saying?
No, not at all. My son Trent is next door to Andy and Kath.
Sorry.
So he allows us to use their track every now and again when we need to. Trent trains some of the horses, and he'll take them over there. Andy and Kate have had some of their horses, and some of the horses go up to Alex and Kate Hargroves as well. So Alex was the next door neighbour working at Andy's at the time, so we had a pretty good relationship with Albie, because he was driving some of our first horses when we first got them 11 years ago, and had a bit of luck for us. So we supported him when they went out on their own as well, Andy, Albie and Kate. So they're being trained up there at the moment. I've still got horses up there. Yeah.
As well, which is good, because I think they're a great young stable. I think the way they present their horses, the way they present their product to the industry, because they put them on social medias and the like, they do a great job. Full stop, those two.
Well, the other thing with Trent living next door to Andy and Kate is you've got old timers like Neville Gath that goes around the yards, and over the last 11 years he's been a great help to Trent, mentoring him, and you just have a chat about what he's done and that sort of thing. And people share ideas and tell you things and help you out. So it's a good industry that way.
It is a great industry, and I love it. And I don't think we have to worry about telling anyone about your mares or anything like that. I think you've sold the industry, and we'll go with that.
I want to sell the mares. The other thing is how important this sale is. I've got 5 mares and 5 weanlings in the sale. And for people in the industry, if I sell the whole 10 of those at $25,000 each, I get back $250,000. But if I sell the 10 of them at $2,500 each, I get $25,000. It's a bit of a gamble, and it can either make you a good success or just average and not even breaking even. So you're looking at you mightn't be getting 25,000 for each of them, but you want to have 5 of them that sell for a pretty good price, and the other 5 might be bargains. But on average, you're hoping that you get pretty good value out of the sale.
I think it's key talking to the likes of Brett Coffey. I've done a podcast with Jared Maloney as well just recently, and it'll go out. Turning stock over, and you've got 5 broodmares. I haven't looked to see if they're in foal or not, to be honest. I should have. I apologise.
3 are in foal and 2 aren't.
So you've got the chance of already having stock on the ground in about 6 months' time, roughly, maybe a touch longer, depending on when they're due.
Yeah, good value for someone buying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and then you've got quality broodmares to go along with. You've got a history when you buy a broodmare that's already had a serving strike rate. You've already got that history, but then the weaners, the old pin hooking, and you come from a thoroughbred industry. The pin hooking in the thoroughbreds has gone through the roof.
Oh,
You can buy these guys as weaners at a reduced price to what they'd be as they went for a yearling sale. You can put them through the yearling sale and hope to turn a profit that way, or you can buy them at a reduced price and you've got a cheaper horse that you just have to look after for a little bit longer, and you've got a cheap racehorse.
exactly right. Yeah.
It's sort of a no-brainer, these sort of sales. And, talking, as I said, to Brett Coffey, I recently went to New Zealand, witnessed their weanling only sale, like only a weanling sale. They had 150 lots going through it. And it's an integral part of the New Zealand sales and how it all works. And I think that's what Nutrien are trying to do, is actually hopefully one day be able to just have a pure weanling sale and also a broodmare sale as well, where we can move them on and change the stock. And the beauty about broodmares, you look at a horse and you can say, well, it'll cross well with Art Major. But there might be someone sitting back and they'll go, why didn't they send this horse to Bettor's Delight? And things like that. And that's all subjective, and you don't know until the horse hits the ground and hits the racetrack, and you can walk around and you can say, yep, I just won the Inter Dominion because I went to Bettor's Delight, or I won the Inter Dominion because I went to Art Major. But either way, you've got that option.
Yeah, and if they're buying them empty, they make the choice themselves. If they're buying them with a in file, they've only got to wait 6 months to make a choice to match it up with something else and do their own crosses to try and get the best foals they can.
Absolutely. And that horse of Jared's, one I said was in foal to What the Hill. I mean, they sold terrific at the New Zealand sale. So they're in foal to some very, very good sires too. Don't worry about that.
We've already had some phone calls, and Jared's been one of the. I probably shouldn't let everybody know, but Jared's already phoned me about some of the mares. Yeah.
I know he alluded that he's keen to, and that's the idea. And I think you're probably in the same boat, and I know some of the other studs will be in the same boat. They'll be like, oh, this is a family we want to get into and turn them over. Another thing that Brett Coffey said is that if a stud just keeps the same line of mares, you go to the yearling sales, you don't necessarily go down and see them to see what they've got on to offer. By changing that stock up all the time, people are constantly coming down to look at your yearling sale draft, that you get the chance of being able to sell a horse at a better price. So there's a lot of key reasons for people moving mares on and moving them along. It's not one of the things I'm trying to get out here. It's not people are getting out of the industry. You're certainly not, because you bought a yearling this year at the sales, and Always Be Mickey this year at the sale. You've already said that if they don't get what you want, they're not going. So you're not getting out of the sport, but it's just an opportunity to try and move things along and see what the next door opens after this.
The issue is that if you breed 5 last year, 5 this year, and then another 3 next year, you just can't keep them all. So at some stage, you've got to be selling some of them, and it's just a matter of what the market wants to buy at the time, because they like one of your families. But I've got other members of the family that I can race on that are already racing, and if all the stock go, I've got members of the family here that'll continue on.
You've got faith in the family. The other part is that if you keep breeding them on, the only people that are happy are the granddaughters, because they can say, well, we've got plenty of riding horses coming up past, so there's not a worry there at all.
I've got 8 grandkids and only 5 mares, so I've probably got to get another 3 mares, so they've all got one each.
We can sort that out with this Nutrien sale that starts, as I said, on June 4.
Do you think I should be putting my name down as a purchaser as well as a vendor?
Oh, absolutely. And actually, I must say, make sure that you log on. It's going through Auctions Plus, this sale. So there is a big thing there in red. Buyers, please note that if you are interested in bidding through Auctions Plus, you must, capital must, fill in the registration form below and register as a buyer through Auctions Plus at least 24 hours before the sale. So please log on to that, click on it. Nutrien are listening to people. They've changing things up as they go. This sale and their website changing at the time probably wasn't ideal, but it's great that Auctions Plus, and I'll tell you something, Stephen, a lot of people won't know, Auctions Plus are getting behind the Nutrien sales. They are actually sponsoring, I think it's the 3-year-olds, but I'll get into trouble, but 2 of the races, they are going to be the major race name sponsors, so they're putting their money where their mouth is as well and getting behind it. So I think that's great that they're bringing more new people into the industry, not just Nutrien, but Auctions Plus, which is separate to Nutrien, and it's key, and they're going to grow the product going forward, which I really love.
And Mark and his team have been bending over backwards to try and help with everything so far. Any little problem, they're trying to fix it straight away.
Abs- Absolutely. Lot 18. Now, this horse will be well sought after. This mare would be well sought after, being by Sundown herself out of Kim's Fantasy. Kim's Fantasy, that is the family of, I forgot his name, Chubb. Is it?
Plymouth Chubb. The um, Royden's Gift is a Sundawn mare, really big and strong, and Kim's Fantasy had 9 foals. 7 of them raced, 7 of them were winners. Royden's Gift was one of the ones that didn't race, and Kim's Fantasy is assisted a Pocket Fantasy,
Yeah.
and Pocket Fantasy is a dam of Plymouth Chubb, and a lot of other horses there as well. The Royden's Gift has had is the dam of a mare called Enlightened Gift that's with Paddy Lee, and it's had 1 start and a few trials and shows a lot of ability. It's a great family. Royden's Gift is in foal to What the Hill.
Yep.
Um,
I wear other hats. Better make sure I don't pull that out. But that's well done. You're looking after the guys at Woodlands, so don't you worry about
that. Yeah. And she's got a weanling in the sales, and she's going to be really he's going to be well sought after as well, because he's a big strong type, and he's by great success.
Yep.
And the family, the Kim's Fantasy and Pocket Fantasy family certainly do well with great success. It's been, I don't know, Greg the Great and a few of those are really good horses that have been produced by that family. Yeah, if you look at Pocket Fantasy and the number of really good horses it's produced, it's a really strong family. Yep.
And as I said, What the Hill was the flavour of the month, well and truly, both in New Zealand and Australia, as far as types as yearlings going through the yearling sales. So it being in foal, that's 6 months on the ground, and you can have a What the Hill on the ground with you, which I think is pretty exciting as well. Lot 38 is Rock Disco, a rock and roll heaven mare out of Miss Discotheque.
Yes.
She's not in. I know actually is in foal to Poster Boy. Yeah, which you'd be excited about seeing that one too.
That'll be good. We've got the 2 sisters. She's a sister to the original horse that we purchased, Flower on the Wall. They're both out of Miss Discotheque, and Miss Discotheque. Her second dam was Ensign's Dream, and Ensign's Dream produced Ball Gown.
Oh yeah.
And Ball Gown won $534,000. Had 38 wins and some wins in the USA. Ensign's Dream, the dam, had 13 foals, 11 raced with 10 winners. So when we look at pedigrees, we look at how many they can produce, how many make it to the races, and how many win, and then we try and cross them with something that's going to suit and be similar in the family.
Yep.
The foal of the weanling of Lot 64, which is Flower on the Wall, she's a Ponder mare, and we sent her to Modern Art. So that's Lot 116.
Yep.
And we all know what Modern Art with Ponder mares can produce. If you've ever seen Lochinvar Art run around, you know it goes pretty good. So we decided we had a Ponder mare, we'd send it to Modern Art, and we're hoping to get another Lochinvar Art for someone that might want to buy the Lot 116.
Have you sent Dave Moran a little text message to say that it's it?
I hope he's watching your podcasts.
He watches most of them, don't you worry about that. Lot 45, Molly Blast, in foal to Rock and Roll Dance. She's a daughter of Caribbean Blaster, so he was a ripping horse himself, and out of the mare, Our Molly Flynn. And I think the family includes Dancing Finn and a few others in that family too. She didn't race because she had an issue with her nose, but she's a lovely mare to deal with, and in foal to Rock and Roll Dance, there's some really good crosses in that family with her, with the Caribbean Blaster and now Molly Finn. Yeah. And Rock and Roll Dance he keeps getting winner after winner. There was a nice winner again yesterday. I forget where it was, but the Yellow Bar send you through their emails, and it came through another nice winner. So yeah.
Oh, we see we like to get horses that produce bread and butter ones that race on and on and on. If you look through all these families, they've got horses that have had 100 starts and raced for 5 seasons. So they're all good, strong horses that continue on and um, race forever, sort of thing. Yeah.
She Didn't Do It is by Wincries Mari, out of the mare Miss Whiz. Smart trotting man told me once that you got to keep an eye out for the Wincries Mari mares, because although they weren't overly well performed on the racetrack, as far as broodmare sire, he's done a terrific job, and he has a great strike rate, the Wincries Maris.
Well, she's a lot 58.
Yep.
She's a sister I Didn't Do It.
Yeah.
And I Didn't Do It won $455,000. And she didn't race, she didn't do it, but she's already got a 2-year-old that we've got with Alex and Alex has told me not to sell it, the weanling, because he wants to train it, as all trainers do. They're looking forward to training some of your weanlings. So I've said to him, well, I'm going to sell it, so hopefully he's got someone that might want to buy it at a big price, and that way he can keep it in the stable.
And then that puts the pressure back on Alex. And then,
I will.
And then your first winner that you ever had at the racetrack, I'm tipping this would be a harder one for you to sell, but lot 64, Flower on the Wall by Pondo, as you said, out of Miss Discotheque. She is not in foal either, as is not the Wincries Mari, if anyone's wondering what it was in foal to. Neither of those are in foal, so yeah.
And Flower on the Wall is out of that Miss Discotheque and Ensign's Dream family that we mentioned before, with Ball Gown in it as well. So it's a really good family, really good family. She's got a 2-year-old that we sold last year, and I think she's going up to Sydney to Roy Roots Jr. and they think she goes okay.
That's always good. Roy's a good man too. Don't you worry about that.
Hopefully we get the best out of these, because that's what if the good trainers can get them going really well, it means the rest of the family is going to be good down the track.
And don't worry, then you can breed these foals and you can send them back to the Nutrien sale with some nice announcements that have happened in the last couple of days. There'll be a Sydney sale and a Melbourne sale in the years to come. So they're going to be sticking around, so you can put your foals through the yearling sales as well. All these weaners that you've got, lot 105, 106, 108, they're all out of the same mares that you're selling, but the first two, 105 and 106, both been by Hes Watching. He's doing a great job, isn't he? Hes Watching.
He is, yeah, and we're not too sure how good they'll all be, because these are not the same size that have been around, and we can't all go to Bettor's Delight, Art Major, Captain Treacherous, and Father Patrick. So there's some other. You mentioned Always Be Mickey before, and Hes Watching. They're in the same boat. They'll produce really good horses and have some good horses out there, but they aren't quite at that level that everybody wants to get onto and pay lots of dollars for. And you can have just as much fun winning 20 races and not necessarily winning a derby or something, but at least getting these horses around with bread and butter races all the time. And all the bonuses for your first wins now are so good that you only need to win 1 or 2 races to start with, and you're going to be in front.
Absolutely. Lot 108 we spoke about there, the great success out of Royden's Gift. It's a cross that works with that.
And he is just a cracking type too. Plymouth Chubb is a big horse, and he's a big size horse, and he'll grow bigger and bigger. He's going to be big and strong. Yeah.
And then lot 112 is out of She Can Do It, also by great success. And then, as you just said there before, lot 116, bred along the same lines. You get the double whammy because it is a filly, is it not? Can't see. Is that? No. It's a colt, is it? So it's the same. Yeah. So he is exactly the same as the Modern Art. Is Lochinvar Art, sorry, being by Modern Art out of a Pondermare. So yeah.
Geez, we're hoping for things when we think that the colt's going to be better than what a filly would have been, because it's the same as Lochinvar Art. But that's the sort of thing we hang our hat on.
And that was the only reason. I actually thought, well, I like fillies because I think sometimes you get that double whammy that if this horse can win, not everyone can. They can go to one. You might be able to sell one at the sales, bred along those same lines, or better line than what Lochinvar Up may be. So you got the double whammy. I like me fillies, Steve. I like sales, and I like it. I like people's, I suppose, ideas and learning something from people. I think it's really key to understanding how our industry can prosper, I suppose, and go forward.
Yeah, exactly.
It makes a big difference. I said there before, it's on June 4, starts June 4, as I said there on Friday, that is coming up, 10 a.m. it commences, closes at 3 o'clock, Monday the 7th of June, but don't be fooled, there is a timer clock going, so if people are still bidding, the bids still come for the horses, the timing clock gets reset until such time as all bids are in, but don't leave it to the last minute. That'd be the crazy thing to do as well. So a lot of these horses have reserves and the likes, but there's quite a few that are unreserved as well. So it's going to be a ripping sale. Steve?
And I think people have been realistic with their reserves and their prices too. So that's something to be aware of, that we're not in there not to sell. If people offer a reasonable price, we'll be selling.
Yep, yeah. Absolutely. Stephen, thank you very much. He's got 8 grandkids he's got to look after, this bloke, so you've got to make sure that he gets a price. Don't try and badger him down to nothing, because the grandkids won't be able to eat. That's about right, isn't it?
Well, if I sell them too cheap, they're going to be grumpy that they could have bought it with their pocket money or their Christmas present.
They got too much pocket money. I'm tipping.
Well, I'll tell you another story. The first horse I actually bought was when I was about 18 years of age, and I bought my sister a horse, just an ex-trotter at $500, and she was only 12, and she paid me back at $1 a week for the next 4 years or something like that, and eventually she owned. So that's the first trotter I had, and she loved it, and I loved it. Yeah, so that was what, 1970 or something like that. Yeah.
We won't go back that far. I could make you feel bad. Stephen Medcraft, thank you very much. Good luck. 10 horses going through this weanling sale, as I said, June 4 to June 7. But good luck, and hopefully we might even catch up with you afterwards if you've had a successful sale. If you haven't, I try to avoid those phone calls, but no, it'll be fine. I'm
sure we'll sell a few. It's just a matter of whether it's 4, 6, 8, or 10. We're just hoping to sell a few. Okay.
I think it's great. I think it's a good idea what you're doing, trying to just replenish your stock, move them on, and keep going from there. Thank you very much for your time, mate. I appreciate it, and good luck.
Thanks, Paul.